Well, welcome back to the channel. If you haven't seen our lean-to build, we built this back during Christmas break. So we got this built, and there's 5 or 6 videos on every step of how we did this. But today we are going to work on what's on the other side of that wall. Obviously, this door enters in to our shop. It's part of our shop building, but there is a loft in here, and so I'm going to show you this real quick. But we have basically an 8-foot ceiling. 16-foot ceilings for the shop, but you have an 8-foot loft, nice little stairway that we built to go up there, and our air compressors underneath there, and this is definitely our working shop, but this is a room in here. And so the plan for this is our farm store, and so we're going to start a renovation on that. When I say farm store, we're not going to have a cash register stood up with somebody standing there all the time. This is basically where we're just going to have our freezers, and the people who come to pick up their meat products are going to come here to this door. They're going to get to come out to the farm. Currently, they're coming up to our house. And so I'm not opposed to that. We just want to get everything out here, and it allows people to be more invited to the farm part of a farm, obviously. And so they can come out, see the animals, see what they need to see and what they want to see, also pick up their products that we sell. And most of the farm sales that we have on our farm are kind of pre-scheduled. We do have people roll in from time to time and say, hey, can I get some eggs, or can I get some meat or whatever, and we sell like that, of course. But most of the time people are texting, or they'll pre-place their order and we'll have that packaged up for them, and then they come and pick it up. And so that's what this building is going to be. It does have a coded door, so if we are away, we can pack up somebody's box for them, put in a code for them for that day that allows it for 24 hours. They can come in, punch in their code, pick up their stuff from their freezer. We don't even have to be here. We like to greet our customers though, so for the most part, this will just be where we have everything in. It's also going to be a heated room that will allow us to store our power tool batteries, things that need to be temperature controlled, stuff that I don't like to freeze. Our shop will have heat in it, but we won't keep it heated all the time unless we're working in there. And so this will be a nice little place. Keep our boots in there. Our boots can stay warm and dry. We can keep our bibs and our whatever farm clothes, gloves, and things in there, so we don't come out and have to stick our foot in a frozen boot. But it's also going to be our nice little storefront, kind of a place where we can do our bills and all that stuff in here as well. But we've got an undertaking to get there. When we first moved here, this barn was in rough shape, to say the least. And so we didn't do a lot of videos on how we repaired this barn. But as you can see, we've done some post replacements. In fact, in this entire 60 by 60 building, only 4 of the posts were fully intact. They were either rotted and half of it was gone, several down this wall. So this main western wall here, only 2 posts, the 2 corner posts, were actually touching the ground. The rest of it was just strictly sitting on the concrete floor. And so it was very bad. We had to dig it out, dig underneath the concrete, put new posts in, pour new concrete pillars, all of that. That was a large undertaking. We spent about 3 weeks doing that right before we built our lean-tos out here for the cattle. And then we poured concrete and let the concrete run underneath the existing concrete around the posts. And so now we're structurally sound. We still have a few posts in the back that we're going to do some work on the back of our building eventually, but they're pretty solid. It stays pretty dry back there. I'm pretty happy with it. But there's still a lot of work that needs to be done here. We have some stairs that are actually functional now, got a full footprint. They were really steep before. The steps only came out to about here. And so that's how steep it was. We actually added 6 feet of length to our steps. So before, it was super steep to climb up, very little footprint for a step. So we got all new steps built. We got an insulated room here, got 2 doors. One door is my air compressor, which I like to keep in there. If your building's not heated, it's nice to keep your air compressor in an insulated room. As long as you have it vented, you open that door up or whatever, if there's some air that can get into there when the compressor wants to run. The other little door is just kind of a storage area underneath our steps. And what we keep in there is we have a barrel on wheels that we keep for recycled oil. So all of our oil pans, our oil filter wrenches, all the oil stuff to change oil is in there. It's out of the way. It doesn't look bad. And we can just roll that barrel out and dump oil into it and then roll it back in that closet. So that closet is very functional for us. But that's some of the stuff that we've tried to do. This project has been put off, and there are big hopes and dreams for this shop. but we're starting it. So we're going to go in here and I'm going to show you what we're going to work on. So on this half of the room addition, whatever this is, the previous owner had a tool room in here, and honestly, he probably had to set up a little better than I do. He had stuff on the wall, and he tried to have a nice little tool workshop, and he said he could heat this part, but he never heated the shop. So he was always working in the cold if he was working out in the shop, which was full of collectibles basically, but he had a lot of stuff, and to each his own. He likes to collect that kind of stuff. But in here, he had a nice little tool shop. We're still kind of using it as that. It's kind of been cluttered. We took a lot of stuff out, but this is going to be gutted. So we're going to gut all of this as well. This will become our new fab area. So we're going to have our welding table in here, drill press, plasma cutter, all that stuff will be in here. We're going to open these walls up though. So currently we have just a man door. This will be a 6-foot opening on each end. And so it's going to leave about an 8-foot wall here that will have our vise table, some tools up on the wall. We're going to have some racks, some cabinets for blades and other stuff that we use for fabbing. But mainly this is going to be where we can come in and fab and not intrude on our shop. So somebody can be in here welding and we can pull a curtain, and then everybody else out there can work without getting flashed. It's going to be a nice little area in here for that. And so we're kind of excited about that, but we've got to gut all this. On the other side of this wall, though, is the big project for today. I say today, but this is probably going to take me weeks and weeks. Through this process, we're going to rewire the whole shop. A lot of the wiring has been chewed through by mice. There was a mouse infestation in here, and underneath, when we dug out those blocks, mice came running out from underneath the concrete. Tons of mice in the wall. And so we had an exterminator come out. We got all that taken care of. We've got proper traps set up now, but we've got to gut this place to rewire it. And so I'm going to do a quick little clip here, just a few photos of what this looked like, so it doesn't seem like the guy before me gave me what mess is in here now. I'll show you a few clips of what it looked like the day we bought the farm. So since then, we have started kind of tearing the paneling board. So there's some paneling board that was in here, mainly because a lot of the electric in this building didn't work, and I needed to have some power to do some farm work over the last year. So as we go in, you're going to see just how nasty this gets. So we've ripped out all the ceiling. It was all water stained and just old and gross. It was the square foam. It's like the 60s. It was bad in here. And this may have been from the original owner, not the guy I bought the place from. It had a bathroom in here, like a wash tub. Actually, that tub right there was in here, and a toilet, which is currently right here behind me. And it was nasty. It was the worst truck stop bathroom I'd ever seen, kind of. And that's kind of what it looked like. Now, we just built that nice new lean-to roof. I had to re-stud these walls, completely fix this wall, reframe in this door. So we do have a nice man entry door, and this wall is all secure and new now. But the rest of it needs work. And you can see power panels open. This is unsafe. Don't do this. Don't leave your power panel open. But I've had to gut a lot of stuff. And so we're going to go through, rewire the power panel. There is some good material here. The box is good. Some of the wiring that was right through here is okay. But basically, I'm going to be ripping everything out and starting from scratch. If I can save wire, I will. It does seem like it's newer Romex. But if it's been chewed through, we're going to cut it there and fix all that. New outlets. And so basically, we're going to have a 14-foot by 20-foot little office store area in here. This room, this building does have water because he had a bathroom, but it does not have a septic tank. I was told by the initial guy who built this that this toilet ran to the house septic tank. But when I shot the elevation, the house septic tank, the septic tank is 6 foot higher than this toilet. And folks, crap don't run uphill. So I don't know how it got there. I don't know where this poop went to. And so on the county, it says it goes to that. That's a lie. And they've been using this for years. I have no clue. It's some kind of redneck buried tank in line over this hill somewhere. I've dug a bunch. I haven't hit it, but we're going to close all that in. It's not right. It's not safe. It's not ethical, and we're not going to do it. But we do have water, so I'm going to try to use that. Just like in any shop, you would wash off some stuff, clean your hands, whatever you got to do. We're going to tap into that water. The water line comes in right here, and so I've got to fix that. It looks pretty nasty. There was a water heater here. I've got to figure out how that comes through the concrete when I tear all this wall out and clean all this stuff up. But it doesn't drain anywhere. So I did find where the outlet comes out, but it doesn't go anywhere that's proper. So I could have a drain, just like a floor drain in my building, but no toiletry, no sewage, no black water. That would only be gray water. And so that can go out there, but we're not going to allow the sewage to go anymore. And so we're going to get that fixed in here. So step one is take the door off, and we're just going to start taking stuff out of there. Throw the old toilet away, throw the old sink away, basically gut this sucker. I am going to try to save some of the insulation. You know, if I pull it out of the wall, I'm going to stack it in the shop nicely, but it all has to come out of the wall so that I can rewire and find and trace everything. But basically we're going to rip and roll. It's a good job for my kids. And so I'm not going to video you showing, you know, you don't want to see me just carrying stuff out in a time lapse, but I'll take you through in steps of what we're going to do. This will be the next several videos. And so I didn't really know how I do this. Some people don't like videos. My channel is typically about education. Some people don't like the videos where I just show you what I did today, but that's a lot of what's going to be in it. So I'm going to try to pick each day something, some kind of a skill set, and show you that skill specifically. So in here, you will see electrical wiring. I will show you how to wire a switch and an outlet. You will see drywall. You will see flooring. You will see re-insulating and some spray foam. So you're going to see all that in here until we get done. The trimming, the cabinets, all the stuff we're going to put in there. And then how I like to wire for my farm freezers. So I'm going to show you all that throughout this, but it's going to take, like I say, several weeks. There may even come some other videos in between as we do other projects. This is kind of my winter project that we got to go through right now. Well, we're moving right along. The place looks a lot better. Sorry for the bad camera here. Basically, just getting the floor cleaned up and a bunch of the insulation out of the walls. But there's some nastiness here, so you might spread forward if you don't want to see this. But this, all this manure, the wall is packed with it everywhere. This is what a mouse and a rat infestation looks like. And so you can see here on the wall, we've got termite damage. We've already sprayed and killed all that as well, but there was termite damage in the whole barn. And so that's what we're going through now. We're pulling out the insulation. I was going to try to save some of it, but after seeing all this, I'm probably going to just junk it all, get rid of all of it, and start fresh. We'll sweep and then shop back everything, and then I'll show you how I'm going to seal to prevent this from happening again. But right now, it's pretty much just ripping out stuff. I'm going to rip out these doors, rip out some wiring that I know is bad, and then I will come back to you when we start ripping out walls and kind of tell you kind of some safety things you got to watch with pulling out walls. All right, well, we've started tearing out some of the water lines here just so we can get to the rest of this paneling. Got some of that old square ceiling still to rip out in there tomorrow night, but I'm going to call it quits for this evening on this project. What we're going to do is we'll continue to do this day after day and keep cleaning this project up. No major lesson today, just kind of, you know, clean everything out, pull everything out. If you're doing a project like this, vacuum it all out, wear a mask. So I did have a mask on part of the time, but I still got some of that insulation dust in my throat. We've been burning all this stuff in a burn barrel outside. And so that's what I kind of do with most of the stuff that will burn and not send stuff to the dump. If it's wood and wood products, I don't burn insulation. I don't burn styrofoam and stuff with chemicals in it. But bagged up 3 big bags of trash. And then we have a huge pile of insulation here in the middle of our shop. We've got one more door to take out, and then we're going to reconfigure that wall in there, and we'll start ripping out stuff. Why are we getting mice? And so I guess that would be the main education for today. Why is there mice coming in here? So anywhere that has a small hole into this building, a mouse is going to get in. It's a protective layer. It's near feed. It's near animals. You're going to have mice. So how do you prevent them from coming? And there's actually a spot here that we fixed on this other wall, and I'll show you kind of what I'm going to do. So down here where this band board is against the concrete, a lot of times over the years that'll get rotted away or that'll have a little hole in it, and they'll be able to come up through there. So what I do is I take this Sikaflex concrete caulk and I'll put a big layer of caulk there. Then what we're going to do, so a mouse could come up through those ribs in the metal right now between the wood too. And so you kind of got to think about what kind of construction you're going to do and how you're going to do this. So if you're going to lay foam in here in your walls, mice are going to have to come up that, and you want those ribs because those ribs are where moisture evaporate out. Those ribs will go all the way to the ceiling and they'll come out through the soffit, and so air can flow behind this metal and keep it dry. And it's really important that you do that. You have that seal in there and that air flowing through there if you're going to put fiberglass insulation. Otherwise it'll get moldy and hold mold. So they make this little sticker rubberized thing that you're supposed to put at the bottom, and you can, but it doesn't take long for that thing to waste away and for mice to eat that out, and so it doesn't really work real well. And then if you just take spray foam and you fill those holes, then there's no way for the water to run out and the air to go up through. So you're kind of defeating the purpose. So you either have to completely block off the air and seal it in tight, which is what we're going to do with spray foam, or you have to put in the board insulation and tape every crease that could come into this building and let that air flow against that metal. So with a new building construction, that's what, if you want to use board insulation, so the aluminum faced closed cell foam that they cut and put between things, or the rolls of insulation, if you want to use that, you got to tape every crease. You got to use special concrete tape at the bottom, tape everything in tight. That allows, there's an air gap between that stuff and your metal for the air to flow through that metal and keep that metal dry. And also that stuff is sealed so water doesn't really hurt it. There's a vapor barrier on that, which is what that aluminum coating does. So if you're going to use that, tape everything tight, but a mouse will chew through tape and chew through board insulation eventually. But if you have new construction, if you build it like that, you have a bug and rodent guy that puts out traps, and you watch, and when you see mice, you take care of it at the point of the first mouse. The first mouse turd that you see, you're putting out poison, you're putting out traps, you're doing whatever you can to protect from mice, to prevent them from getting in those walls. That's one method. It is not the best method, but it is a cheaper method, and it will work, but there is more maintenance to mouse and rodent prevention. You really have to watch it if you're going to use that kind of foam. The other more expensive method that you have, of course, is spray foam. You can put your metal up and spray foam directly against it. And rodents can eat through it, but there's a lot of work for them to eat and tunnel and go across. They don't typically eat through the spray foam. It's not the easiest way. So it's sealed tight. And that's what we're going to do here. And that is what I recommend for an old building like this that you're redoing, is to use spray foam. It's very expensive. It's about triple the cost of fiberglass. But ultimately, a closed cell foam, especially at this old building, is going to make this building much more secure, much tighter, airtight, but also it's going to add structural integrity to this building that will increase the life of it. And so ultimately, it would have been cheaper for me to buy blank land and build the shop the way I wanted and do it. But because of the structure was here and you want to save what you paid for, that's what we're going to do. There is a third option and a better way to build if you're building brand new. So if you're going to build brand new, I'm not really a fan of the pole barn structures in this manner where you sink a pole into the ground. So what I prefer to do is pour a footer, build a stem wall out of concrete or lay block, and it doesn't have to be 6 foot high. You can just be 1 foot high, which is usually what I do. I usually do one layer of block above my floor concrete or 2 layers of block, and then I build my walls on that. If ceiling height is less than 12 feet or 12 feet or down, I would stud it. It's cheaper to put studs up and plywood, and it's going to be more secure with that zip system. That's what I would prefer to do over posts. But if you want to go 16, 20 foot tall, you can do post construction right on those stem walls. And so you can build it like that, seal it in. It's really hard for mice to climb up block. So if you have 2 or 3 layers of block up, they're not going to be able to climb up that concrete wall and get in. And if you seal it in, if you use a zip system, which is the most expensive route, but you could put that zip system on and tie everything in and then screw your metal to that. It's really overkill if you're doing that. You could vinyl side, whatever you want to do there. But if you're going to use just runners like this, where you tie and screw your metal into it, seal in with that insulation board, tape every seam, tape over every nail hole, seal it in here, and then when your insulation board is on the inside and your metal's on the outside of that, then you can spray foam along the concrete at the bottom, one layer, and that'll really protect from the mice. Spray foam in the corners, just with cans even would be much better. And so that's one way to kind of protect from rodents, but they're always going to be able to come in this garage door. It's just a rubber seal. So you still have to do maintenance and monitor anywhere that mice can get in to rodent proof. I recommend a good bug guy, and we have a very good one here that I use, Pro Kill, and Jerry Buckamneer, if you know him, he's a great guy. And I kind of just picked him and used him at first just because our kids went to the same school, but it turns out he's very good at his job. And so if you're local, he's the guy that when people ask, there are a couple other guys around and usually you want to use, but I just use a guy. So if you're not, from here, you're in Tennessee watching this, find a guy. It's worth it to spend $100 a year to have a guy come and spray for bugs and look for things and manage that. It's going to be worth it in your long run because you can see what I'm dealing with now. This barn looks like it's 60 years old, and it is not. This barn is only really about 30 years old. So you got to deal with that. You got to take care of your barns. You got to protect stuff, and you got to pay attention to rodents. Well, that's it. I'm tired. I'm heading to the house. It's about 7:30, so I've been home since 4, and it's not a super long night for me, but I'm going to go ahead and call it quits. I've taken in enough dust and insulation tonight, even though I was wearing a mask part of the time. Turn off the lights there. So I appreciate you watching the video. Keep up with this series if you want to see what we're going to do. As we get into repairing stuff, you're going to see a lot more techniques, things that I like to do wiring, things that I like to do drywall. I'll show you that stuff. I'm not a master of anything. We've built 11 homes, my wife and I, or lived in 11 homes and done repairs and added on and those different things. So I've got the experience, I've got the know-how, being an engineer, and we've done the stuff. So I'll show you the right way to do some things, but I'm definitely not the master. If I was building a brand new house, I sub out. There's certain things that I sub out. That's just the way I do it. But I'll get to show you some of those techniques, and so hopefully there will be some learning with this. But also, if you just enjoy guys working and doing stuff, follow along. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.